What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. What do we think about this fight? How do we see it going? Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Look, Luis Ortiz is not who he once was. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way or anything like that, but I mean that in the sense of he's 43 now. Your body won't do certain things as it could in previous ages or withstand certain things like it normally could at previous ages. Father Time is undefeated. And in Luis Ortiz's last fight, Father Time was definitely on his shoulders. I thought he looked good for the first few rounds. He was moving well, countering Charles Martin well. He had some pep in his step, good body punches, good movements, but he got dropped twice. And that was concerning to me. You know, in boxing, people get dropped all the time, but how you get dropped tells a different story. The shots that dropped Luis Ortiz wasn't powerful shots by Charles Martin. There were two straight jabs that dropped him. And so that's something to keep into mind because Andy Ruiz, to me, is a bigger puncher than Charles Martin. But Ortiz is tough. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of will, and he's fighting for a bigger purpose, right? And in boxing, while the speed might get a little slower, the legs might feel a little heavier throughout the rounds, the power is usually the last thing to leave. And as long as Ortiz has that, he has a chance. And we saw that in the last fight against Charles Martin, right? How he won that fight in the 6th round with that left hand that stunned Charles Martin and basically looked a little bit unconscious to me as he was standing up. Ortiz is a finisher. Once he sees you hurt, get out of his reach, right? Because he's coming. They don't call him King Kong for nothing. That left hand can and will close out the show if it lands cleanly. Now, let's talk about the former heavyweight champion, Andy Ruiz. To me, Andy Ruiz's biggest issues come from outside the ring with his discipline and his focus. Can he lock in the fight early? When he fought Anthony Joshua on short notice, he was hungry, he was prepared, he was ready. And I think also AJ underestimated him as well. But in the rematch, he blew up physically and wasn't in shape. Moving to his last fight against Chris Arreola, he didn't come to life, to me, in my opinion, until he got knocked down. When he got knocked down in the 2nd round and got stumbled in the 3rd, that's when we started to see him wake up a little bit going into the 4th. Andy Ruiz is a very skilled and quick heavyweight. He's got fast hands, good power, good feet, good body puncher, nice right hook, good combination. And to me, he's gotten much better every time that I've seen him inside the ring. While he can fight inside the pocket, that's not where I'd like to see him be in this fight. I'd like to see him take his time in this fight and break down Ortiz from round to round. Sometimes he gets a little reckless and presses for the knockout and leaves himself open to getting countered like in his last fight. He doesn't need to press. He's a good placement puncher. The right time will come. I think Ruiz just needs to chop King Kong down, as I said, round by round. Hit the body, wait for Ortiz to come in, then counter him, then keep moving, change angles, use the feints, change levels. Andy Ruiz is younger and fresher than King Kong, right? And he needs to use that to his advantage. But if he starts fighting on the inside in the pocket early, I don't like that for him because Ortiz just needs one shot to close out the show, right? Ortiz is the bigger fighter. Arreola caught Andy Ruiz a few times, but he's not a puncher like Luis Ortiz is. So he needs to be careful, right? So in this one, I have Andy Ruiz winning this fight. I don't know what the odds are. I haven't seen any of that yet. I haven't really looked too much into it. But, you know, it's always changing as the fights gets closer. Right. But I'm taking Andy Ruiz by KO in the later rounds. I just didn't like how easily Luis Ortiz went down in his last fight. I didn't like the way his legs and his conditioning was looking going into the middle and the later rounds. Right. So for me, I think Andy Ruiz is going to take his time in this fight. I think he's going to use his youth. I think the speed is going to be too much, but I do think he is going to be a lot more patient because he does know that Luis Ortiz possesses that power and can close out the show at any given moment, right? So I think Andy takes the first 6 rounds to break him down, and then in the 7th start to apply the pressure. And then to me, I can see the knockout coming in the later rounds, 8th, 9th, moving into the championship rounds when Luis Ortiz may be gassed, a little bit tired, and his hands come down a little bit lower. lower. So I have Andy Ruiz winning this fight by knockout. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comments section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donations, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle and my social handle will be on screen as well. Any amount would be appreciated and goes towards the growth of this channel. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this time, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.